Yeah, look at that. A lot of fucking people see these quick.
Because especially when you don't post a lot. That's the thing. If you post a lot, people stop looking at them.
Not necessarily. People get used to it. It's like fucking reality TV. You can't stop now. You just get used to it. Not like too many a day, but if you do 3, 4 a day, every day, people will watch you every day. There's certain people I watch every day, and I don't even fucking know why. I don't stop watching them. If you don't post often, I don't because I don't give a fuck.
Well, actually, if you don't post often, you turn to the end of someone's feed. So that if you have 10,000 followers, you're the fucking 6,430 person by the time they go through, unless they look for you.
That's what I'm saying. So we got to actually do this often. Not flooding, not spamming in one day, but you need some
shit. I'll click on someone's and I'll see like 100 little white dots at the top. I'm like, no.
Yeah, same here.
There's nothing I do not need to see what you had for breakfast, supper, dinner, and fucking what time you went to bed.
I just sent Screamer, Joe Sullivan said, tell Screamer I want to get naked with him, so I took the screenshot and sent it to him. Do I get anything on my face? Besides fatness? Okay, let's rock and motherfucking roll. Oh, there he is! The man himself! How's it going?
I'm alright.
Good.
Fucking mad, man.
So how's your Wi-Fi? You good over there? We coming in clean?
I think so. I think everything's alright. Just give me 2 seconds. I need to just send a text on it to Heather.
Yeah. For sure, buddy.
Did you click that full screen?
How are we looking there, Randy?
I think we're good.
I'm gonna check out our stuff here.
Alright, I think I'm good.
Okay, so you'll see me, but Randy's on the other side of the table, so you'll hear his voice, and I'll be looking at you. You're on a big monitor, so I'm gonna talk to the monitor. So it looks like I'm not talking to you, but I'm actually looking at you up here on the monitor, and
that just sounds weird.
Yeah, that's it, man. We're ready to rock and roll if you are.
Wait there. I don't know which fucking camera's being used here.
The one more to your right.
I've got
that one.
I've got a webcam on my laptop, but it's shite.
That one.
And I've got a USB one, which is better. How does my picture look to you?
Not too. What do you think, Randy? Not too bad.
It's good. The one you're looking at right now is not the one that's working.
What?
That
one's working.
You're looking me in the eyes right now.
This one's working.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna see if I can get this one up. I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm doing.
We need the IT department in there.
Oh, mate. Switch camera?
Yeah, bam. Oh, shit. He's got a lot bigger.
Yep.
Yeah, this one's a much better webcam. Is that better?
Way better, buddy. I think it's quite a bit better. What do you think?
Yeah, we're good.
There you go. So how you feeling, buddy?
I'm alright. Just, I've been fucking, I was up late last night, drinking some whiskey.
Oh, same. I was drinking gin. I feel your pain. And you had to work today, too, right?
Going coach.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You had to work today, too. No shit.
Life's hard, man. Just needed some fucking whiskeys.
I'd say to
take the edge off.
Yeah, take the edge off, deload a little bit. So, where are you from right now? Where do you live at?
Liverpool.
Liverpool? Were you born and raised in Liverpool?
No, I was born and raised in South Shields, which is like in between Sunderland and Newcastle in the northeast of England.
Got you. And were you, do you got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I've got one brother.
And is he an older brother, younger brother?
Yeah, he's older. He's, oh fuck, how old am I? 29? 33? Can I swear on this, by the way?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I can't turn that off, man.
That's okay. That's okay.
Fucking potty mouth.
So he's an older brother. Is he into powerlifting and everything too? Does he weightlift?
No, he does lift a little bit. He just real like recreationally. A couple of years back, he did quite a bit of lifting and a bit of training to have like a one-on-one white collar boxing matches.
Oh shit!
So I helped him cut weight for that and everything. That was pretty cool.
So what's a white collar boxing match?
You know, like obviously you've got like pro, then semi-pro, amateur.
Yeah.
This is like below that, where it's just people who.
I think we call that a street fight.
Yeah, like an organized street fight, I guess.
That's right. That's right.
What kind of happens is like you'll just sort of like you'll get like people who just train recreationally in the gym or whatever. They've not had any pro experience, no amateur experience.
Yeah.
But they just want to fight.
Yeah.
So like they'll just join like a boxing gym for 12 weeks.
Shit.
They'll get trained up a little bit, and then they'll just match them up, and they'll just match two people up with like who they think's gonna be like a close enough fight where it's not gonna be embarrassing.
Yeah.
And he's going to have like
Donnie
the experience of a pro fight. That it's like it's in a place, there's a ring, people are there, there's a bar and everything. So it's like there's a big crowd and everything, but it's just like real like amateur. It's a really good idea.
So now we know where the Fight Club started.
Holy smokes, man! Wowzers! So your brother just how did it go?
He got beat, unfortunately. It was like I went and watched the whole thing, and like to be fair, it looked like they kind of like matched people up like really badly. There was some like really embarrassingly like just shit fights out there.
Yeah.
But that one, fucking hell, it was a slugfest.
Really? Oh shit!
They were knocking the shit out of each other.
Oh fuck! What's that like to watch your brother in a slugfest?
Oh, I was shitting myself. It was horrible. It was fucking up.
Shit! That's hard, man.
He got beat. He was disappointed. Like but he came out all right. You know, like we went on the piss straight after it and everything. And yeah, it was. I was like this watching.
Yeah, like holy smokes. Did you and your brother growing up? Were you guys into the rough stuff like that growing up too?
You know what? Not really. Like me and my brother, we've had a couple of arguments. We've never once like had anything where we've like come to blows or nothing like that. Like
no shit. You guys have never gotten fights.
Once. We used to we'd argue and play fight and everything when we were younger and everything like that. But like not once have we ever like legitimately tried to like punch one another or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Especially I'm fucking much bigger than the cunt.
Are you? Well, how big is your brother?
What, sorry?
How big is your brother?
He's a little bit taller than me, and I wouldn't even know how much he weighs, but I've probably got a good, like, 20 or 30 kilos on him.
Oh, no shit, okay.
Something like that, like.
Were you always, growing up, were you always thick and a big guy?
No, actually. There's a picture of me, there's a picture of me somewhere. I'll send you it after this if I can find it. Yeah. But it's when I'm about 14, and it's like my first year playing rugby. And honestly, mate, like I always thought that I was a big lad. I'm just like, you know, just like when you think back about things, and then the more you think about it, the more the story changes and everything.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So I just always thought that I was big. Yeah. And then my mate sent me this picture, and honestly, I'm like that.
And when you think back, you were 7 feet tall, long, flowing mane, and then you see a picture like, who is this guy? Who is this guy?
You can see the foundation, so you can see I've got like wide shoulders.
Yeah.
There's fucking no meat on them.
Yeah.
So I was so skinny back then.
So you were playing rugby from an early age. Was that one of the first sports you got into? Was rugby?
But it was the first competitive thing I got into. I missed the boat on competitive sports. I started playing rugby at like 14, whereas like if you want to get good in any sport, like at that kind of like team sport kind of dynamic, I mean you want to be starting them off from as early as possible. Yeah. But when I was younger, I really wasn't that competitive.
Yeah.
And I was just then like in those kind of like teen years, I just got really fucking angry.
Really?
And I just ended up playing, get rid of some of that, get rid of some of that anger, you know.
What was it in the teen years? This transformation in terms of getting angry, getting more competitive, and moving in that field.
The thing that did it And, right, it's going to sound like a right fucking sob story, and I'm sick of fucking going on about it. But basically, it was like me dad getting remarried. So, like, I was fine all through, like, that. I mean, my dad never been around, so, like, it was me, my mum, and my brother. And my dad was never around, but, like, would always, like, sort of ring and things like that and keep in contact. And then he got remarried, and then we just didn't hear from him for, like, 6 months. And that was kind of it for me, like, just... That got me really fucking pissed off, and I just, like, started going a bit off the rails and that then, and probably still am off the rails now, to be honest with you.
But did you get, like, were you getting, like, trouble and stuff like that?
No, not like bad trouble. My mum wouldn't let that happen. Like, little bits of things, so, like, I remember this one time, I'm a fucking idiot. Me and my mate went around and, like, do you know what an allotment is?
A what, sorry?
An allotment.
An allotment.
It might just be an English thing. Basically what it was like this fucking place, like, on the outskirts of our little town.
Yeah.
And it was just, like, this big, like, sort of plot of land, and people would, like, rent space in there, and they would, like, grow shit in, like, greenhouses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, this one day, me and my mate just went round and just started smashing up these allotments with, like, fucking club sticks and shit.
Yeah.
And, like, the police got rang and my ma fucking killed me. Like, just little stupid shit like that, which sounds like a really good idea at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it really isn't.
Yeah. So was your mom...
Like, I'm pretty sure...
Was she,
I'm
like...
pretty sure the guy who organised it told us that, like, there were abandoned allotments and it's fine.
Yeah.
So we went around and started just smashing the shit out of it with, like, golf clubs and shit like that, and just...
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. And so was your mom the type that she would step in like a dad, she would put a whooping on you if she had to? Was she tough?
Never whooping on me, nothing like that, but I was just shit scared of her.
Yeah.
All she had to do was just raise her voice once, and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm not messing with you. Like, she'd never ever had to fucking lay a hand on me because of just how scared I was when I was a kid.
Yeah, and when you...
Now, little fucking midget.
How tall is your mom and dad?
Right, I'm about 5'6". I think my mom's about 5'4". And my dad, I'm fucking, every time I see him, he looks like he's shrinking, so... I haven't seen the prick in about 10 years, so probably about 5'1" by now.
No shit. And is your brother, how tall is your brother?
He's about 5'7". He got a little bit taller than me, 5'7", 5'8", or something like that.
I know, man. I'm 5'9". My fucking brother's 6'1.5", the prick.
Motherfucker.
Full head of hair. Oh, what a prick.
Yeah, I bet you got the good looks, though, did you?
Well, all right, I'll take that, sure. You can say a different story, sure. Sure, it is what it is. It is what it is. But, so in high school, when did you start lifting weights then? Was it like around those high school years?
It was around about when I first started playing rugby. Like, I was the shortest on the field, I was the skinniest on the field, but I was the fastest. And I was like, right, I wasn't getting dominated, but there was just like, I don't know if you've ever watched rugby before, but there's some big fucking boys on the field.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, there is.
I was just like, right, I'm probably not going to get much taller, because at that point I'd already outgrown my ma and my dad, so like, I was doing well there. I was thinking, right, the only thing I can really sort of compensate for to try and get a bit more competitive in like some of the fucking, like, some of the tussles and tackles and things is to try and put on a bit of size. So like, I think I was probably 14 or 15, and me and my brother, we bought like a weights bench for the bedroom. Yeah. And we just stopped, and like, we just started fucking about on that, trying to lift as much weight as we could on it and everything, and we probably had about 80 kilos max weight or something like that, and like, eventually I got to the point where I could like just do the whole thing for reps, so I had to move on to find an actual gym then.
And were you just started like bench, not really squatting or anything like that yet? And you didn't have any coaching, you just kind of doing your own thing?
Yeah, I didn't squat till I was about probably 16. Didn't squat probably till I was about fucking 17, because I didn't know anything about depth. I just, like, the guys who were showing me in the gym were just typical, like,
gym bros?
Just fucking bros. Like, I was in quarter or half squats at best.
Yeah. No shit. And when you were on the rugby field, because you're as intense a dude on the platform as I've ever seen, probably the most entertaining dude that I've ever seen. Were you like that? Were you like that earlier? Were you like that in other sports?
Yeah, I was a fucking psycho.
Really?
Alright, this is fucking great, this. I always remember this. Every time I see my mate Jonas when I go back home and like visit family and everything, I always think about this one time, and it was of him fucking pissing himself, laughing at me on the pitch, right? Because I played inside centre and he played outside centre, so we were right next to each other on the field all the time.
Yeah.
And just every now and again, I was pretty good at sort of breaking tackles and running through people and stuff like that. So like, this one day, instead of doing that, I was trying to sidestep all over the place. And for some reason, I was so angry. Just Jonas kept hearing me go, fuck off, get it, fuck off. I was trying to sidestep these people.
Get the fuck back. Give me room. Give me space.
Fuck off. Get me fucking way, you prick. All this shit. Honestly, man, I didn't even realize I was doing it until I seen him pissing himself laughing when a play broke down.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So where do you think that comes from? So it's always been like, sports is like your outlet, basically, right?
Yeah, like, what it is, right? Outside of like all this stuff, like I've had years of bottling up like a lot of emotions and a lot of like anger, and I take it out when I get to the gym and like when I squat and when I compete and everything like that. And it's kind of like, because I get it all out like that, I'm like the tamest guy, like in general, like outside of training and outside of the gym and everything. Like I'm pretty calm, I'm pretty reserved. Like I don't really talk that much. If I'm in public, I just got my head down, trying not to make eye contact with people and things like that. But
is that right? No kidding.
Gym, yeah, honestly, I am dead reserved. Like,
and so people would never see you coming. So if someone just knew you from your day-to-day life, like, Steven's going to compete, and they came and watch you compete, they'd be like, holy shit, when they see you at the platform yelling and screaming. They would never see you coming.
No, like, I mean, I don't know, because I think they wouldn't see it coming if I was, like, skinny, but I'm a big lad.
Yeah, that's true.
They see it coming from that way.
But your personality-wise, they'd be shocked.
Yeah, like, my personality changes, like, drastically from situation to situation. So, like, in everyday life, I'm really, really socially awkward. And, like, but then once I get into the gym, like, that's where I get confident. And when I get to competitions, I get confident then. I can be pretty chatty and pretty sociable. Yeah. And it helps as well that, like, without sounding like a big-headed prick, like, people are going to come and engage me in conversation rather than me having to go and engage and start conversations.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm really not good at starting conversations. Like, I don't know, I just don't really think I'm, like, that interesting, where I don't really, like, know what to talk about. So it's just, like, I'm happy to just sit and observe. And if somebody wants to talk to me, then I'll answer them back and everything. But, yeah, I'm a fucking weird guy.
No shit. So, high school, you started lifting weights, and around 16, 17, you're squatting. So, how did you end up finding powerlifting?
Right. This is not one of my favorite stories. So, when I finished school, our school system's a bit different to yours, where we have like a senior school up until 16. Then you go to college till 18. And that's optional. So like you can leave school at 16 and start working, or you go to college to be 18, then start working, or you can go to college to be 18, then go to uni.
Okay.
So, like when I left school at 16. All I was thinking about was, like, how can I make the most amount of money possible? I don't care what I'm going to do, but I want to make the most amount of money as I possibly can. So I went to the college round hours, and I studied business studies, IT, accountancy, psychology, and lasted about 6 months, and I just fucking hated my life. I absolutely despised everything I was studying. And the only thing that I liked doing at that time was training and drinking. Oh shit, man, what's that? I was drinking underage now.
On the record, yeah.
I think I might have actually fooled her until now, right? Anyway, so, so I was like, only thing I was enjoying was training. So I just dropped out of college around about February or something like that, I think it was. And I just kept training, and then I was looking into like how I can study sport. So I found another college, which was like an hour away. So I traveled like an hour there and back every day to Gateshead, and like, so Gateshead is like, we we do a lot of like athletics track meets there at Gateshead, and like within that stadium there's like a big gym and everything. It's like real like sort of state of the art and everything. So I would be in college from like 9 till 4, and then I was allowed to use the gym for like, and it was either free or it was £1, something like that. Like it wasn't expensive at all.
Yeah.
So I would get in there about 4:30, and then I just seen the powerlifters getting started at about 5 o'clock. So like I watched them for a few weeks, months, taught them and everything, and then I eventually asked them to join in one time. So I did that, trained for like 6 weeks, and then did my first competition. And I think I broke something like 10 British records.
Holy shit! In your first meet?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I fucking like this.
Yeah, no kid, yeah.
That was like the first time I'd actually like really sort of like felt good about something that I'd achieved. So like, I just stuck with it from there.
Yeah, no kidding. And so how old were you when you had your first meet?
I was 17.
Okay, and how old are you right now?
29.
Oh shit, so you've been doing this for 12 years.
Yeah.
So
I've been doing this shit since before it got cool.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say is, you know, like, back in the...
breaking up.
Are you? We got you good.
Say that again. And you...
Yeah, so we got you good on our end, by the way, but... are we coming through?
Yeah, you are now. I can't think. You just stuck in this pose, but I can hear it.
No, so I was going to say, when the IPF went raw, I think it was 2012, and then 2013, 2014 really started picking up. And then, you know, because like after it went like the unequipped division, and then Instagram came, YouTube started blowing shit up. And like, because before back in the powerlifting, so I've been competing like 10 years as well, and no one knew who anyone was outside of their own immediate countries really, or like, you know, there just wasn't, you just didn't know. No, it wasn't cool. You tell people I'm powerlifting, people are like, what the fuck is that? Is that bodybuilding? Like, it was different, right? It wasn't, like trying to tell people now, this is crazy. We're doing podcasts. People have like over 100,000 followers. Like, that was not the case when you started.
No, and imagine what it was like fucking 10, 15 years before we started as well.
Yeah. No, that was dark ages.
Like, you wouldn't even know, like, who was going to win an international competition. Like, you wouldn't even know who was entering.
Yeah. No, you literally wouldn't. You had no idea who would show up.
You couldn't just go on Goodlift and look at the nominations.
Yeah.
You would, like, turn up, and you'd be like, oh, fuck, he's turned up. Wait. It's bad when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah. And so were you all in, were you doing geared, equipped as well?
Yeah, I mean, there was no raw in the IPF, and like, I've only ever competed IPF. So like, I didn't even realize, like, for some reason, it sounds stupid, but like, because when I first got into it, like, everything was such like, sort of like, equipped culture, I didn't even consider squatting without all that shit, and benching without a shirt and everything, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you like it?
Oh, I fucking hated it.
Really? No shit, eh?
I fucking hated it, but I wanted to be the best, and that was the only way I was going to be the best.
Yeah. Well, all the guys you're training with, I guess, they were IPF as well then?
Yeah, we did have a few, one or two who was GPC. I don't know if you know of that federation.
Yeah. I know GPC.
Yeah, so we had one or two that were GPC, but in general it was all like IPF, British powerlifting.
And who were these guys? Was any of these guys just take you under the wing as a mentor, or how did this start happening?
Well, my first coach, Mick Hunnam, was like an ex-world record holder, European champion in the 82.5 kilo class, I believe. And I learned a lot from him. Like, even to this day, I still sort of like remember some of the things that he said about like trying to keep me head on the right path and all that sort of stuff. And I'm not always like achieved that, but I always sort of like think about them in the back of my head when I'm doing certain things, and I know that I'm like getting like sort of too wrapped up in the lifting side of things and not enjoying myself and stuff. But yeah, he was a huge inspiration to me.
And in terms of like, so I guess they are the ones who taught you technique wise and how to squat, dead, bench, and stuff like that.
Yeah. And truth be told, my technique hasn't really changed too much from those early years either.
Even taking off the equipment, you lift like an equipped lifter still?
Yeah, it's weird. Like I've not changed my foot stance at all. I've always messed around with high bar and low bar because of like shoulder shit and stuff like that. But like I don't really think I think I pretty much lifted the same all the way through. See, because I never really used to wear like really tight equipment.
Yeah.
So like basically my first 2 years were the only years that I had a powerlifting club and training partners. Since then, I've generally trained by myself, and so like I had to make sure that my equipment wasn't too tight, so I could actually get it on and get it off.
Yeah.
And so like I didn't really like the suit wasn't really sort of like forcing me into a certain position. It was just I was sort of pulling against the suit, and it wasn't restricting me so much that my hips had to be in a certain position, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like that definitely would have let me down numbers wise, but I'm happy that I didn't really go into I really didn't get into like the really tight stuff, because that stuff was tight enough. Fuck me.
And it was a smooth transition this way. But what about programming? Who was doing the programming back then for you?
It was probably real like old school more than anything, like where I would just turn up and he'd tell me what I was doing for the day.
And
you know what I mean? It would just be like, right, we're hitting 5s today.
And you're like,
all right. 5s.
Yeah. Whatever it is.
There was no real rhyme or reason to it. But I don't think that's the worst thing in the world for a new lifter anyway, because like, I mean, let's be honest, no matter how I was training in that first 2 or 3 years, I was going to get better.
Yeah, 100%.
And the main thing was that he was always telling me to listen to my body. So if I told him I feel fucked here, Mick, then he would like sort of lighten the loads up a little bit, and we were just always just focusing on getting technique down every time. So it wasn't really that big of an issue that like I don't even think I peaked ever with him until like I didn't really peak for competitions.
No shit.
You would say, right, just take the week off and then we'll lift.
So how did things start getting more intricate in terms of peaking, and when did that start coming into play?
That was me when I went to uni. I went to uni and studied like sports science, did a degree in sports science and everything. So like, it just got me really interested in like all that sort of stuff and like reading up on all that sort of stuff. And that really came from my own volition of just making sure that I was trying to be as prepared as possible for competitions.
And did you start programming for yourself then?
When I went to uni, there was a guy there who did it for about a year or so, and that was really for me to learn from another perspective. So like he was into bodybuilding, so like I would sort of do my powerlifting stuff, and then he would program me some bodybuilding stuff to learn that side of things. And so like I'm always trying to learn as much as I can and everything like that. But yeah, I mean I trained myself from uni up until around about late 2015 when I got in contact with Mike Teixeira.
Oh, Mike T. Okay, yeah, and he's got a hell of a roster.
Oh my fucking god, he's the best. He's awesome.
How do you like working with Mike T?
I fucking love it. He's so. Do you know what? Like, 100%, he's made me a better lifter. He made me a better lifter quicker than I ever thought was possible. And also as well, like obviously I'm not going to rip off the stuff that he does, but my style of programming for my clients now is so much different compared to what it was like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much from the lifting side of things, but also the coaching side of things. Like I can't express how grateful I am to that guy. He is fucking awesome.
So what is it like? Without, I mean, you don't got to give any secrets or anything, but like, what is the type of stuff that he's like a huge proponent to the RPE training. But I talked to Brett Gibbs a little bit about it, how, just understanding the certain lifters' cycles, how long they peak before they start coming back down, and really like being personalized. Okay, here's your cycles. It comes back down. So you have a 4-week peak, a 5-week peak, and then working the RPE, you know, like what are some of the stuff that he would do that just really opened your eyes?
Right. Well, I was really using like an auto-regulation system for like maybe a year before I got in contact with Mike. It's just everything was just so fucking heavy. Like I was battering myself in the gym and I wasn't getting much better for it. So for an example, maybe like Mike might set me a single at 8, followed by 4 sets of 5 at 70%, something like that. Real basic, nothing crazy. Whereas when I was doing it, that would be like a single at 9, 9.5, something like that. So I'd be grinding out a single, and then instead of like 70%, I'd be trying to do reps of like 85%.
Yeah.
And sort of like every 3 or 4 weeks, I need to take a week off training because I was fucked all the time.
Yeah, okay.
So then like, just now that I look back, maybe I might have spent like maybe 10 weeks, like either off the gym or doing light training. Whereas when I went to Mike and we did it that way, it was taking me like 9, 10 weeks before I was feeling really fucked and we need to have a deload. So just the amount of extra volume that I accumulated in that first year compared to what I had been the previous years was just so big, and everything was lighter, so I was moving better. Just, it makes so much sense to me now. But back in those days, I mean, I would have been like, I was probably doing this from like 22 up to like 25, 26, something like that. And I mean, you know what you are, like, at that age, you're fucking young, dumb, full of cum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just want to push as fucking hard as you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just, you know, it's just a one-way ticket to Snap City.
Yeah.
And I was finding that I was picking up niggles. I was just tired all the time. I wasn't interested. And then I ended up just spending a year with him, and fuck me, like, I mean, he got me to a world record squat within 10 months.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like, I went from, I think I started with him, I think I'd squatted 305 for the first time in a competition. And then that was like October. So it would be about 11 months in. October I did that, and then September got the world record squat at 331.
Holy smokes, man.
Yeah.
So was he doing, like, besides, you know, lowering the RPEs, getting a little more volume in, was there extra things like, you know, was it pause, squats, partials, or anything new that you were, like, not doing previously, or was it still...
Yeah, see, back then as well, another mistake that I used to make was I would just put variations in for the sake of it. So, like, let's just say, like, I might go, right, I feel like doing pause squats for this block. So I put pause squats in. But the issue with me might not have been positioning or power out of the hole. It might have been, like past that sort of, like, 2, 3, 4 inches out of the hole where you're in that mid-lift. So but then I wouldn't really sort of pick up on that, and I'd just do pause squats. I feel like doing pause squats. But it might have been a bit more logical to squat against a band for that variation.
Yeah.
Fine. So, like, it's always good to get an extra eye on your lifts, because he'll notice things that I don't necessarily notice, and he's got more, and at that point he would have had a lot more experience of looking at the way someone's moving and thinking, right, I think this is a potential weakness, so I'm going to put this variation in instead. So I think that's the biggest thing that did it. The two biggest things that got me from where I was to where I am is just changing my mindset into you don't have to push as hard as you can all the time, and also as well, like, really targeting, like, using assistance exercises that are as close to competition as you possibly can, and also things that are actually going to benefit you. So, like, if you don't know why you're putting it in there, it shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like you're doing it.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense to me now. And people are going to be watching this thinking, this guy's a fucking coach. But, like, I'm talking about, like, 3 or 4 years ago before I even started thinking about all this shit, you know?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it's true, though. I mean, sometimes, like, I mean, you could get something out of, we're using Pod Squad as an example, you could get something out of it, but like you said, okay, it'll help you to an extent, but there might be something else that'll help you even more. So even though, like, like, it's all, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people watching who have certain things in there because they've seen their favorite lifters doing it. They don't know why their favorite lifters are doing it, but they know he's a big squatter, he does pauses, I'm pausing now. But he's doing pauses for himself, you know, that's the thing with Instagram and YouTube. Oftentimes you follow these world champions, but they are not built like you. They don't got the same, you know, problems, pros, cons, etc. Right? So you just kind of pick and choose what you like.
Another thing I always see as well with that sort of stuff, I actually had a client of mine say this, and like he was like, he was having some problems with his squat, and he was like, I just want my squat to look like Bryce Lewis's, and I was like, lad, you're about fucking 6 foot tall. Your squat is not going to look like Bryce Lewis's. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fucking Jesus, man. That's like yeah.
People really need to mirror themselves over people that have very similar leverages to them.
Yeah.
Like you can look at anyone's squat and think, oh, I want my squat to look like that. But if your body is completely different, it's not gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, and even on the surface, you might look like someone, but then just like how their femurs pop into their hip joints and the whole nine, things change. Like that's where you need a coach like yourself who's gonna be like, look at, here's what I'm seeing in the videos. I know what you think the picture of your head is, but like you said, with that extra eye on you, the other guy is not like, everyone has a picture in their head what they look like when they're lifting, but your coach doesn't give a shit about that. He's actually looking at you saying, here's where problems are, my friend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Throw that other stuff away.
I 100%, I'm not saying this because I am a coach, I think everyone should have a coach.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Just for the simple reason where, like, when you're being held accountable by somebody else, it's so much harder to fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like, the amount of times I would sit out and write a 12-week training fucking program for myself, and then that thing would be completely fucking different by week 4. Honestly, mate.
Yeah.
You do it all the time. You look at yourself, and when you program for yourself, you don't program for yourself the same way you do clients, because when you're thinking about yourself, you're fucking Superman.
I know, yes, dude, that is so true. It's so true, because you got numbers that you're going to fucking hit. Once your clients, you're like, listen to me, man, you're pushing a little much, your RPs are revving, but once yourself, you're thinking, nah, I'm hitting these numbers, and if I don't, then things are falling off, I have to hit this number. You know what I mean? Where you're so attached to these numbers, your coach will be like, dude, relax, pull it back, trust the process. Yeah. Sometimes like a madman behind the wheel.
Stop.
Yeah, very much so. So this is around 3-4 years ago. When did you start? So the raw lifting, did you immediately go into the raw as soon as IPF went raw?
Pretty much. I missed that like exhibition World Cup.
Yeah.
Because
when they're testing it out.
Yeah, I think what had happened was, I think I just missed the boat on selection for that year, basically.
It was a little different. I remember it was like, because they were kind of half in, half out with the classic division. They're kind of testing it. Not too many people even knew. It wasn't like, it was like now you win the nationals, then you go forward, but it wasn't even really like that. There are a lot of nations didn't even have raw nationals yet when that cup came around, so it's kind of weird.
I don't remember if we did or not. I really can't remember if we had one or not. But for some reason, I missed selection that year, and fuck it, I just moved on.
But then 2013, I think they had the first Raw or Classic Worlds. Were you at that one?
I've been at every one.
Oh, no shit.
Bar that exhibition, yeah.
So how did that, how was that Raw Worlds that you went to?
Fucking insane. Like, as you said before, like, everybody came in not knowing who anyone fucking was.
Yeah.
So all you had was the nominations, and then people lie on nominations all the time and everything. And I came in there nominated something like 10th, maybe a bit higher, and I ended up coming second.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Who won it that year?
Who do you think?
For the 105s?
93.
Oh, 93. Okay, yeah. Okay, then the Paul Verbeek, yeah.
Fucking Poland.
Yeah, he won he won the Exhibition World Cup, won every single one until he hurt himself in Texas.
Yeah, so he won them all until Colleen, didn't he?
Yeah, then he came in injured. Still came in bronze, I think, though. Like, he was hobbling around.
Fourth.
Oh, was he fourth? Okay. Oh, he took a bronze in deadlift, I think. I think he took a
Third
bronze in
or fourth,
deadlift.
something like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened the year before, though? No, in 2014. In South Africa.
Did he pull for the win?
Yeah, right, this is so fucked up, right?
Okay.
So, right, they need to change the rules about this, in my opinion, right? So, right, what happened? Let me get this right in my head. So, if you get a world record total, and it happens at the same competition, it's the guy who gets it first gets the total, right?
Because he finished first?
Yeah, so if he hits that total first, he's got the total record. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So what happened was, it was Bulani, the Ukrainian guy, against Vyazbek, however the fuck you say it.
I know. I avoid it too. Yeah.
So, and because he's a big deadlifter, he was obviously going to be pulling for the win on the last attempt.
Yeah. He always does.
So Bulani got his deadlift. And I forget the number. Let's say it's 847.5 was the total.
I think it was exactly that.
So he got the world record total, but Vyazbek won the competition.
Because he got the same total, but the dude got it first. I got you, yeah.
And it's like, that's fucked up. How can the world champion not be the world record holder?
That's like a trivia question. Who won the world championship? The other guy got the world record holder. We got like
I've seen it happen before or since, but that's fucked up.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
No, and I think we should change it as well, where like they should make another change where if the world record's fucking 350 and somebody comes in weighing less than the guy who originally did that number and he hits 350, I think that should be the new world record.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? Just little things like that. And I think it's really unfair that people who are already at an advantage for being good enough to break a world record can have an even bigger advantage by chipping a record.
Yeah.
So I just think everyone should be able to fucking put 0.5 and put 1 kilo on the bar.
Yeah.
Especially females for benching.
Oh, that's huge. Because for them...
It'd just be so fucking disheartening to see some women, especially some women who aren't that athletically gifted, train for like 2 years to get a 2.5 kilo bench PB.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like if they could put like 43 on instead of 45, that would be huge for them. And I think it would do a lot to improve like the retention rates of like some women at that level.
Yeah, you know what? It's true though that you said that because like my girlfriend competes as well, and for them. A 2.5 kilo jump, depending on your weight class and women's benching, if you're not a crazy big bencher, you're a solid middle of the pack or bencher. A 5 pound, 2.5 kilo jump that's a big PR, or it's just a big jump. It's a big jump. You work like men.
Of it. It's like in some cases it could be about like 6 or 7%.
Yeah, man, that's a huge jump.
Huge.
Yeah. You could, for men, it's a pretty big jump, but for women, man, it could be a massive, very disheartening, like you said. A lot of women will be like, I haven't had a bench PR in God knows how long, but, I mean, to make that bench PR happen, you got to have a big percentage jump.
Yeah, and, honestly, any of my female clients, they always go on about that. Yeah. And I've got to just say to them, look, for one, powerlifting is a fucking slow burner anyway. You've got to be in this for the long haul if you really want to fulfill your potential.
Yeah.
And on bench, I hate saying it, but it's just look, it's going to take you years to get from where you are right now to where you want to be. And we all know what people are like. They've got this real sort of exaggerated perception of where they should be.
Yeah.
So it's I've got people who are benching 60 kilos and right, I want to be hitting 80 next year.
Holy shit! Whoa!
That's not fucking happening.
And then they'll look to you like, well, you're the coach. You got to get me there. How you get me there? I put on a bench shirt. I don't know what the fuck like that. It's like, I know what you mean. If it was that easy, some people also think, so the early gains you get when you first start out, like you said, when you first start out, the gains are going to come no matter what you do. They look at that progress and be like, well, by year 5, I should be winning national titles and going to the Worlds because if this progress continues. No one wants to hear that. Man, that shit, if that was the case, everybody be a national champion, everybody be a world champion. Really doesn't work like that.
And the world record will be about fucking 50,000 kilos.
That's right, man. That's right, man. Yeah. A lot of times you hover just underneath even a national record or whatever the record might be, and you can be so close, but once you start plateauing a little bit, you fight for every little kilo.
Yeah, and like it's one of those as well where it's like that final everyone's got a ceiling, and that final 10 kilos towards that ceiling is so much fucking harder than that first 10 kilos.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I always tell my clients everything like just like they've always got in their head the numbers they want to hit. I want to be world champion, I want to be British champion, whatever it might be. And I always just like I feel like it's like my job as a coach to encourage them along that, but to sort of talk them off the ledge at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, like you've got to understand that this is like a sport of diminishing returns. When you're first starting out, you don't have to put a lot of work in to get a lot better.
Yeah.
And the further along you get in your career, you've got to put a shitload of work in to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
People, that's when you really see how much somebody wants something. Like when you get somebody who's stuck in a bit of a plateau for like a year and a half because they're getting towards that ceiling. Yeah. And sometimes it's like a temporary ceiling, and then something happens, you get a change in coaching, you change technique or whatever, and then you sort of blast through it a little bit, but it's going to happen again.
It's like, always,
It's never linear.
No, you make hay while the sun shines, but when it starts slowing down, you realize, and like you said, everybody's got a limit. We don't know what it is until you start pushing. But and it's so true that everybody thinks they're going to be a world champion once they start moving those weights. I got people, sometimes when they first come to you, they're like, so what's my chances of like making it like on the national team, going to Worlds, doing whatever? And I'm like, man, you haven't even started yet. Like if you you know what I'm saying? Like I can't tell you what your chances are, but like if you come in with those expectations of I need to be good right off the bat, or you know I can't invest in it, you're setting yourself up. You know you got to enjoy the journey. You know.
I don't understand. I really don't understand that mindset. Like, I mean, like you know, if somebody like entered a fucking marathon, and they expected to win it the first time.
Yeah.
Like that's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't see why a powerlifting competition should be any different.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you're going up against people who have been doing this for years.
Yeah.
They've got a lot more experience. They know what they're doing and all that. And, like, just... It's a little bit insulting for somebody brand new to come in there and think, right, I'm going to go and fucking smash this now. British champion really get. You know what I mean? And, like, that kind... You did kind of see that at the start of Classic because it was new and it was growing.
Yeah.
So, like, you see a lot of people who, like... There's people in a... Particularly females... young girls who like sort of won the British juniors at a young age when Classic first came about. But like before Classic, you were lucky if you would get 10 women competing at a British Championships total.
Oh yeah, the talent pool was so much smaller.
Yeah, so when it's like that, it's easier to win these things. And then the next year, fucking like that same person might have come 6th or 7th.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, boom goes the
Much it exploded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you kind of like, you see what people really want. So like, and I really do see this with a lot of juniors. You see a lot of juniors who are very competitive as a junior, but then they know as soon as they hit the open that they're not going to be competitive anymore, and they'll just leave it and they'll just do something else.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, in a way, I admire that because it's like, well, if I'm not going to win it, then I'm not going to do it. But it's the fucking journey that goes along with you getting to that title. that's the fun part.
And just, if you don't look at, the actual competition is one day. If you don't enjoy being in the gym and training and the whole journey of it, then what are you doing it for? Because that competition is one fucking day. If you compete 3 days that year, that's 3 days. You got to enjoy the journey.
To be fair as well, I'm sat on my high horse fucking saying how stupid these people are and everything, but I mean, I was that guy once.
Well, you joined and smashed records your first meet. You were it's an exception, but yeah.
Do you know what? I really do think that set me up for failure a little bit as well.
Really?
Because it came so easily.
Yeah.
I expected everything to be a bit easy.
Yeah.
But but I was also smart with it as well because I mean, what I just said about the talent pool being so small, it was also a small talent pool back when I was lifting back then, because like I said, I was doing this shit before it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I would win everything really easily. I'm sure one year I won the British Championship by about 200 kilos.
Holy fudge!
Honestly, definitely well over 100. But close to 200 kilos.
Yeah.
I'll try and find the competition, but I won a comp by 200 kilos one time, and it was it was getting too easy. So then, instead of my aim being to be the British Junior champion, sorry, not the British Championships.
Yeah.
Because that sounded fucking bad there. So then, rather than my goal being to keep blowing these fucking amateurs out of the water, I was like, right, I'm gonna try and beat the senior champions total. So I was always aiming a bit higher to keep me going.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I always entered the juniors because they were at a better time for our international competitions than what the British was. Mm-hmm. Like the British Open. But I was always sort of looking and trying to beat the British Open champion as well as being the British Junior champion. And I think I did that one year. I think I won them both in the same year. Yeah, I think I did that. Can't remember. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. And you think that maybe that sets you up, though? For...
Yeah, because straight away it became about winning. So,
got you. Yeah, so if you didn't win, all of a sudden, you couldn't...
out winning, breaking records, and trying to be, because, everyone was talking about me in the country in powerlifting from a really early age and everything. And I think that kind of sort of that's what I enjoyed the most about it. I love the training, don't get me wrong, but I also love fucking sucking me cock and boosting me ego and everything.
Yeah. It's like the Mike Tyson effect where Mike Tyson got it all so soon. He talks about it where he's 18 years old, turned pro, 20 years old, he's the champ of the world, and he's like, you can't help but get big-headed because you're young and everyone thinks holy shit, he's the man. And you're like, whoa, if I had to fight for it for year after year, when I finally got it, I would, I'd know what it's like. But yeah, I know what you mean. It would be difficult.
Yeah, and then as soon as things started getting hard, I was still pushing, but it definitely got a little bit, I didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
Up until the last year or two, really. I've started really enjoying myself again and just fucking about in the gym and fucking about on the platform.
Yeah.
And just Matt Gary from the States, he sent me over a book. It's a mental management system by a guy called Lanny Basham, I don't know how to pronounce his surname. And it goes on about how to sort of goal set and things that you should be focusing on. And rather than you being very outcome oriented, you should be process oriented.
Yeah.
If you're not enjoying the process, then the outcome's probably not going to come. The outcome that you want probably isn't going to come. A lot of people who are really successful in sports aren't trying to be. They just love doing it. They love the process of what they do. And when it comes to competition day, it's just easy for them because they're still thinking about the process and they're not thinking about right, I have to win this.
Yeah.
I can't this up, I have to win this, So I'm about halfway through that book now and I'm really enjoying it. It's class. It's confirming a few things that I've naturally started to gravitate towards from these last couple of years where I hadn't been enjoying the training as much.
Mm.
But I left for uni at 19 and I got me tattoo on my chest with like a quote of Bruce Lee saying, "There are no limits, there are only plateaus, and you must not stay there, you must go beyond them." And it's like, just at that age, I decided, right, I'm moving away from university to go to, like, at the time, the best uni in the country for sports science. I wanted to learn as much as I could, and it was all because I wanted to be world champion from that young of an age, because people would tell me I could be world champion. So I was like, right, he's believing me, and I'm starting to believe it. I'm fucking all in, I'm going for it. So I moved away to the best uni to learn as much as I could, and you know, it became about being the world champion. It didn't become, eventually, it was like more a case of, right, I have to do this because I've told everyone I'm going to be world champion, rather than be doing it because I was still enjoying it.
Yeah, and you know what, it's interesting you say that. A lot of motivational speakers, not even just with sports, but in general, they say, like, when you put all this pressure on yourself about the outcome, in reality, none of us are gods. You have no control over the outcome. That's an illusion.
For yourself, fucking hell.
Yeah, that was harsh. How can you tell me? But like you have control over your effort. You have control over like the process and what you bring to the table and your systems. But you can't control who else shows up. You can't control if you know. So you can't. So many things you can't control. So when you pretend, if the outcome isn't this, my last 6 months was a failure. That's how some people look at it. They're like, if I don't hit these numbers, my last 6 months was a failure. Don't do that to yourself. You're setting yourself up. Those 6 months, they're not a failure, man. Whatever you've done, those 6 months is your journey, right? And I see what you mean, where maybe early on in your career, you were just smashing records. You might be like, well, I have to continue smashing records or else this is a waste. But yeah, it's kind of the wrong way of looking at things.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm sort of like learning that for myself. And this book's confirming it and everything. But I've gotten a lot more joy out of training, because like I'm a very, very open, honest person on social media, unlike the majority of people that you see on social media. Like, if something on my mind, I'll just fucking say it. And like, I've been suffering with depression for like years, through not just training but other things in my life and things like that. And I'm just really open about it, and I get a lot more joy from people reaching out and saying that sort of stuff helps them to sort of like, to start talking to more people about it and like actually trying to get some help and everything. I get more joy out of that than what I do from winning competitions and things now.
Oh, it's so
and
powerful.
Like, it's that sort of stuff that's keeping me going.
Yeah, like it's when you say that, I know, because like my girlfriend, same situation, has you know, depression, anxiety, and she posts often about it as well. And you don't realize how many people are watching and drawing strength. And you know, you scroll Instagram, you see nothing but people putting on like sunshine and rainbows and all these positive quotes, but those same people are fighting these big battles. And I'm not saying they have to air out whatever they're doing, but when someone gets honest and says, look it, man, this is real, this is what I deal with, so many people are following you, like, that is exactly what the shit I need to read or what I needed to hear.
Yeah, like, a lot of the time as well, those people who are, like, fucking putting all that stuff on, like, with the positive quotes and everything, they don't fucking live their life like that.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't believe a word of that. They're just fucking doing it because they get a sort of like, they get a kick out of all the positive comments they get from it.
Yeah. And
the more positive comments they get from it, the better, like, the happier they become very temporarily.
Yeah.
So rather than them actually buying into like that mindset and doing it, they just think, right, I'm gonna go and find another quote today.
Yeah. That's instant gratification you're talking about.
I hate it when people put like quote after quote after quote after quote, and I especially hate when it comes with a fucking picture of their ass or a fucking their ass.
Yeah, and they do a motivational quote with their ass on it. It's like, what the shit?
Stay off, you fucking twats.
No shit.
Man, honestly, it does me head in.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just really don't know how people actually are inspired by stuff like that. I honestly don't.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how you have somebody who will, exactly that, they'll be doing like, they'll show a clip of them working on a machine, doing some tricep work on a machine or whatever the shit, then show a picture of their ass with a cheesy quote that they found off the internet that doesn't mean anything, and get like a fucking 100,000 followers. And it's like, I don't get it either. It's not quality content. You're not getting anything from it.
I honestly don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah. But at least
That's the world we live in these days.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about
And it was always going to happen when fucking, like, kids are idolizing people like fucking Rihanna and Miley Cyrus.
Yeah,
They probably don't know who fucking Albert Einstein is.
Yeah, fuck.
You
know what I mean? Like, for every one of those, like, role models that all these, like, fucking kids have and everything now, like, the parents should be, like, educating them on people who have actually, like, made a difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, the world is a lot more than fucking who's your favorite music artist and everything.
100%.
You started
There should far less entertainers who are being, like, idolized and immortalized than what they actually are.
What were you gonna say, Randy?
I said you started powerlifting like before it was, you know, it grew as big as it was. The social media, what's the pros and cons you feel about that?
The pros and cons of social media.
Yeah. What do you feel? I guess we're kind of touching up on that right now, but.
Well, I think the biggest pro is, like, I've made a lot of friends internationally from competitions, and I can get in contact with them whenever I want.
Yeah, 100%.
And I can see how they're getting on. I can see how things are going. And, you know, like, just a few days ago, I saw a mate of mine who I met over in the States say he had, like, a health scare, and he put it on Instagram. So, like, you know, I wouldn't have known about that without social media. So I got in touch with him straight away, seen he was all right and everything. So that is amazing. The downside to it is that it's, like, it's not too many people think of it as a way of sort of expressing themselves in everyday life.
Yeah.
And it's like, rather than, like, actually being open and honest about stuff, and I think that's fine as long as you're going to be open and honest about everything. But too many people just want to show the good stuff.
The highlights.
And they want everyone to think that they're always this happy and life is always this good for them. But it's not, you know? And it's like, it makes people not sort of relate to them on a human level, because especially if they're going through some shit right now where they are pretty depressed. So it's like, that's one of the things that people say to me. They say, like, I'm really happy to see that somebody who is as successful in this sport as you are actually goes through the same things that I go through, because I just assumed that you were superhuman and you could push through anything.
You know what?
But
if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind talking a bit about that, because it is important. Like, oftentimes people go through Instagrams and you're just seeing the worst. They say the robbing of happiness is comparison. Never compare yourself, because especially when you go through Instagram, it's only people's highlights. You don't know the behind the scenes. All you see are highlights. Very few people are strong enough, brave enough to show the full. If you don't mind talking a little bit about, like, when you say you feel like you go through bouts of depression, etc. So what exactly, because a lot of people don't understand. Like, you know, what exactly are we talking about here when you say that?
So, like, it affects different people differently. I mean, I'm no expert on this by any stretch of imagination, so, like, you know, like, whatever I say here might not relate to people who are listening to it or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I've spent the last 12, 13 years on and off convincing myself that I'm just a complete worthless piece of shit. Like, I'm not worth anyone's time. So what happens with me is, when I go through these bouts, and they get worse and worse and they last longer and longer, like the longer it went on for. Mm-hmm. So when it first started out, it might have only been a few days, maybe a week. Now it's like on and off, 2 or 3 weeks at a time for 3 or 4 months at a time. Mm-hmm. And it's not uncommon for me to just totally cancel everything I've got to do for work and all that sort of stuff. Just stay in bed and just fucking, like, eat absolute shit and just become a slob and, like, just ignore my phone. I just don't want to talk to anybody, because, like, it'll be messages from people saying, like, are you okay? Like, are you okay? And I don't really want to tell them that I'm not okay, because I don't want them to know that I'm going through this shit. Mm-hmm. And it'll be like, sort of, I might get some positive comments from people from a video before, and, like, I'll look at it and I think, oh, but I mean, I'm a piece of shit. I don't want to see people being nice about me and everything, you know.
Yeah.
And just slowly but surely, you just get out of it, you know, and like I just get very, very distant, and I try and shut myself off from the world as much as I can. And it's not a nice experience. And like, I'm really fortunate that the people who love me, like, they've stood by me through it every time, because they know what's going on and everything. And I think I would totally understand if they just thought, oh, do you know what, fuck him. If he's not going to get back to me, I'm not going to fucking talk to him anymore. And like, you know, like, they're stuck by me because they understand what I go through and everything. And like, I'm really fortunate for that, because without those same people, I would end up being alone, and it would just get worse and worse. I would have nothing to sort of like get me out of it, because eventually you do see the value in those relationships, and you just think like, right, I need to start actually trying to like get me shit together here. And
there's nothing you could do. Like, these people think like, you ask questions. I do the same thing sometimes. You're like, well, what happened? What was it? You know, like I had said, my girlfriend's open about this kind of thing too. And you'd be like, what's going on? She's like, you got to understand, it's nothing happened. It's just happening. Like nothing. There wasn't an event. Like, and people, you try to tell people who don't know, and they'll be like, it's because of this, because that. It's not because of any of that shit. It's like, some people think, well, when this happens to me, I get kind of depressed. Or when that happens, like, no, but you use the word depression, but you don't understand. Waves come, and you don't know why, and if you knew why, maybe you could pull yourself out, but it's not that easy, right? And that's why it's important. And so many people fight these battles, and nobody, you know, they post like a positive meme, maybe they're trying to pull themselves out by doing it. People get a lot more by hearing people like you who like are so successful and be like, man, it's compatible. You can pull yourself out of it and do things, but it's one of these deals where, I mean, you'll deal with it from here on out. It just doesn't leave and go away, right?
No, I mean, I'm getting better at recognizing when it's going to happen. And the only reason I am is because of how many times it's happened. Do you know what I mean? It's like you just recognize that you're starting to feel the same sort of way. This is really weird, but a lot of the time it happens with me after I sort of like get out of my routine. So like, I live away from my family and everything. So every now and again there'll be an event on back home, like a christening or whatever. I'll go back to that. I'll catch up with everybody. Everyone's doing really well. We'll get fucking pissed. We'll get shit faced. Have a really good night and everything. And then like, and just the next day or two, I'm just really depressed because I had a really good time. And I always feel really guilty that I'm not back there with them all the time.
Yeah.
And just just something like that is enough to set me off. So then, like, it's like, I don't want to not go home and see me family and friends because I love them and they love me. But I also don't want to go through these experiences where I know I'm going to be shit for the next few days. And, you know, like, sometimes it goes into worse stuff where it kicks off, like, an event, like a situation where I'm distant for like another week or so. It really is strange. But what's helping me deal with it is actually just like every week I just sit in front of my webcam, I record me talking about shit, and I just put it out on YouTube. That for me is really valuable because it's helping me sort of like organize all my thoughts in my head and try and put them into a logical order. That's how I've actually figured out that a lot of my anger stemmed from my dad all those years ago. I didn't know that until like this last year or two. I've always like sort of like been angry at him, but I didn't realize that he was the source of all my fucking pain. Like everything that goes bad in my life, I can honestly put it down to him. And it's like, I've only just started to come to terms with that now. And I think that's a huge step because I'm further along into like getting better at recognizing all these things because I can actually recognize what the source of all that shit is now. And I'm really reluctant to try and actually like seek out medication on this sort of stuff because I've got a very addictive personality. So like, I don't want to just trade one addiction for another. And just end up hooked on fucking meds for the rest of my life. You know, I'd rather try and sort it out without that shit and like through positive experiences and training, eating well, all that sort of stuff. I think it's a bit harder to do it that way, but I think it's better in the long run if you do it that way.
Like depression and anxiety often go hand in hand. is anxiety also, it's difficult, and especially with like, again, I keep referring back to my girlfriend, we live together, this is most my knowledge from, but it's difficult to go in some situations, you're away from home, around people you don't know, a lot of people watching, stuff like, you can get anxiety, you want to remove yourself. How difficult is it? Like when you go to a big meet, I mean, you can also have anxiety around performance naturally anyways, but does that affect you? And is that almost like, is that part of where Screamer comes out? It's almost like you have an alternate personality, an alternate ego that kind of you unleash and be like, ugh, here's where it is. You can let it out, and here's like, I feel all this, but fucking because the thing is, it's so weird how the crowd, I was there, I had the opportunity of commentating for the Battle of the 105s, okay? And I swear to God, like I've done 2 world IPF championships, and that freaking session where you had with the crowd whenever you came out was like, you can't put in words, man. And people who watch it on the podcast and the stream, they probably got a piece of it, but they're live. Like when you stepped on, that fucking crowd went, it was yours. It was yours, Screamer. And I was like, I felt it too. You know, I'm trying to be impartial watching it, but damned if you can't root for this dude. And I'd seen, you know, you're so open with like dealing, look at this, how I feel with my feelings and shit. Like, this is a tough guy sport. People don't talk about their feelings. You know, so it's so like people get emotionally invested with you. And is that part of like, do you feel that anxiety in certain situations? And then when you're in the worlds, like the much energy you give to your performance, that and also what happens afterwards when, you know, you're out of your routine, you go back home and you gave so much.
Yeah, like, first off, that was fucking crazy, that competition.
Woo, dude, that was insane.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, I was blown away by the support that I got off, like, everybody in that crowd. Like,
yeah.
And, like, at one point, the team coach, team manager, she came back, Tanya, and she was like, do you realize that there's, like, loads of Iranians chanting your name?
Yeah, man. Yes, there was.
And I was like,
yeah.
you fucking
yeah, man.
It was fucking surreal. Like, I've never experienced that before. And it's a testament to how fucking big this sport is actually getting.
Yeah.
Like, when you're getting, like, fucking, like, loads of Iranians coming over to support their guy. And then they're also cheering me on. And you see, like, do you see the Belarusian girl as well? That you had, like, Belarusian locals coming in to watch her lift and everything.
Yeah.
It's actually getting big, and they had, like, posters of it up in the fucking streets of Minsk and everything.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that whole screaming thing, like, it just stems from just the way things always were for me, like, when I started out. Like, it's gotten worse and worse over the years because the weights have gotten heavier. So, like, I have to get more and more aggressive as the weights get heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
Like, when I was squatting, like, 240 or whatever back in the day, I used to get amped up but not quite that bad. And then maybe I would fail a lift, but then I would, rather than saying, right, I think that's it for the day, because I was back in the mentality of, like, right, I'm getting this fucking weight no matter what. So what I would do when I failed a weight, I would, because I trained by myself, I'd strip all the weight down, put it back up, put all the weight back on, and then I'd just get more aggressive. And then 9 times out of 10, I'd fucking get it on the second attempt.
Yeah.
So then I started, like, that's a little bit of confirmation bias where it's like, right, if I get more angry, I get more amped up. And if I get more amped up, I usually move better. And I think that kind of goes against what a lot of people sort of think about, like, mental preparation, like, where you need to be cool, you need to be calm, you need to be thinking about what you're doing. Just because I'm screaming and fucking acting like a dick doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I just have to get that psyched up to clear my head, to then just have an empty head to think about my technique.
Yeah. And so when you
it's just part of my mental process, you know?
And when you give that much, because you're so emotionally invested, you know, because that, like, man, you get, like, it is, a lot of, when we were commentating, some people like, can he keep this up throughout the whole competition? When you're that emotionally, but I was like, well, you haven't seen this dude lift before. But how do you keep that much energy up? Is it just like, because that's, you just got so much in you?
Mate, honestly, 100%. I know why people would think that, but I can switch it off like that.
Really?
Like, yeah, like I get that amped up for the lift, then I have a little celebration scream or whatever, and then I'm right back. I sit straight down, I look down at the ground, and that's about it. Like, I start bringing my heart rate back down, I breathe, I think about things. Every now and again, I might be pacing for maybe like 30 seconds to a minute after it or whatever, because I'm still excited.
Yeah.
But in general, I try and calm that down as quick as I can and sit straight back down. Like, I'm not doing that all the way through, because that would be exhausting.
Yeah.
But I could switch it on and off so quickly. Like, even when I'm warming up, I'll be fucking about with the coaches and then, like, other lifters, like, messing about, cracking jokes and everything. And then he'll be like, right, you're going in 30 seconds, right, ready. Just get ready to go and do it.
It was something else, because I remember somebody would just finish squatting, and then I was just about to look to be like, who's next? And I heard this, yeah! And I was like, holy shit! What the fuck happened in the back? And you were like, you're like fucking like pacing, come on! Like, I was like, holy shit, man! Chalk was flying, and you're like, fucking, let's do this. And it was like, whoa! Like, I felt the energy, man. It was nuts. And you kind of pace yourself, so the openers will squat you really intense. But you got more and more intense, like, as you start getting heavier and heavier for your last one, and then your last one. Because you got to give yourself somewhere to go.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I said. Like, because 300 or 302.5, I think I opened on squat. Like, that's a routine lift. I should hit that every fucking day, no matter what.
Yeah.
So you don't need to get as amped up for that. But then, as it gets heavier, like I said, like, I naturally just associate more weight with more aggression.
Yeah.
So I just get more and more amped up.
And it's kind of it's funny, because the more amped up you get, the more amped up the crowd gets, then the more fucking amped up you get. And it became like a circle of like, woo! Like, you felt it. You felt the energy in that room, man.
In a few years' time, I'll go on a fucking killing rampage after a squat. You fucking cunt!
I was temporarily insane. That's what you could say. Talking about this? Actually, I wanted to bring this up. As intense as you were, how hard was it watching? Because your girlfriend is Heather Connor. And I didn't know that when I was commentating. I actually commentated her session as well. And I didn't realize that at the time. I don't know, whatever. But I had seen you on the sidelines, and you were like, whoa, Jesus. You were like so stressed. I was like, what's Screamer so stressed? He's pretty emotionally invested in this. And, like, you know, and she obviously won, and like it was a big moment. But how hard is that to watch your girlfriend lift, like, with the anxiety there? Because it's out of your control, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, all these things, like, anxiety really hits you when it's things that are out of your control.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, like, I knew she was going to do it. I was really confident she was going to do it. But then, like, you know, things weren't going that well for her. Like, at first squat, it didn't look that good because she got her feet in the wrong place. Like, I saw that straight away. And I was thinking, oh, fuck, like, I hope she can sort it out for a second attempt.
Yeah.
She got it on a second attempt and sorted it out. But she failed her third. Then she only got her first bench in because the fucking carpet was really slippy, she said. And I was just like, oh man, like, I was really scared because I know she's got a fucking huge deadlift on her.
Yeah.
But it was like, by that point, I think she'd lost like a potential 7.5 kilos, which at that weight class, that's fucking huge.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If she went 6 out of 6 up until that point, she would have had it won on maybe her opener or a second attempt.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, like, I wouldn't have been as fucking tense. And then, like, so she only needed like 2.5 kilos extra on that third deadlift, I think it was. I think she went from 167.5 to 170. And honestly, that was fucking horrible. I am not ashamed to admit it. I cried like a fucking bitch.
Did you?
I mean, I was in the back crying.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, and I cried when she got the world record at the Arnold as well. Like, just, like, honestly, I love that girl to death.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I had the opportunity. So when we were flying back, we were both, we took the same flight. And I hadn't known. That's when she told me, and she was explaining, yeah, man, me and Screamer. And I was like, this all starting to make sense to me now. I'm a little late to the starting line, apparently. But okay. Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. You guys are like the power couple of powerlifting now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite couple.
There you go. So I remember another thing that stood out, because you're such an emotional guy, like emotionally charged, obviously, and that's like a huge strength for you. And one of the few times I was like really like watching powerlifting, man, is very. So nothing against the guys who are like cyborgs going out there, because we can't all be screamers. Yeah, I mean, then you would be special. So nothing against those cats. Actually, sometimes it's kind of cool to see the dude who's like that cyborg in there. There's also a little stigma to that too. But that's why I love watching you win, because like even if you miss, I remember in Texas the one deadlift you had missed. Dude, so I got to bring that up. But man, I was on the sidelines. I wasn't commentating that one. I had that session off, and when you missed that, you turned around with your head in your hands and got emotional. And I was like, God damn, I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. And I felt a little fucking emotional. I was like, holy shit, man. Because you just like, you're so transparent and lay shit on the line, right? Like it feels like you really don't give a shit. Like this is whatever, which is probably why people gravitate towards being Screamer fans. It's hard not to root for a guy like that. But that was like one of the few times I've seen in powerlifting, big, huge, strong, macho guy who just let it out there, man. You turned around right there and had your head in your hands, and your coach came in and hugged you. He's like, God, fuck, I want to hug this guy. I don't know this dude from a hole in the wall. I'm like, you're like, damn, and I feel, you lose, I feel like we lose. You win, I feel like everyone's happy for you as well, right? But, yeah, how was that in tech? Not to I'm sorry, I got to bring that one up too, but...
I'm over it now. Like,
yeah, you should be. Yeah, you've done well since then. How tough was that?
Well, I mean, I came into that competition convinced I was going to win. And it's like I was saying before, it goes back to me being more outcome-oriented rather than process-oriented.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, like, I was... Honestly, I think if I'd won that competition... because of the way that I hadn't really been enjoying training for like that 2 years or so, I would have probably just stopped competing.
Really? Because you would have said, okay, I'm good now.
I think it would have been a case of, right, I've done what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
I haven't done this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
No shit. What a way to look at it. To be like, that would have been the worst thing in the world for me to have won that. Because you need powerlifting. Like, this is such a good outlook for you.
Now, and I don't feel like I need powerlifting anymore. Because I'm process oriented rather than outcome now. Yeah. Like, I'll put the same effort in anything else, and I'll enjoy it. Yeah, like, I've definitely got my eyes on maybe not necessarily a bodybuilding career, but I want to do a bodybuilding competition at some point in my life.
Shit! Whoa!
Right. Have you seen these fucking tits?
Yeah.
Isn't that bodybuilding?
No shit, man.
But it's because I want to I'm just curious to see how it feels. Like, I'm not the kind of guy who, I don't want to have an opinion on a sport or an activity if I haven't actually put myself through it before.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, it's impossible to be that fucking, like, non-judgmental where you're thinking, right, I'm not going to have a comment because I don't know anything about it. Yeah. I've got an opinion on bodybuilding and bodybuilders in general, but it's not an educated opinion. Yeah. I don't know how it feels. Yeah. And I've got shitloads of respect for bodybuilding because I don't think any other sport in the world can say that when you're not training, you are training.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's all encompassing. I've never bodybuilded as well, but most of us powerlifters got buddies who have and shit. It's very closely related with training. And holy smokes, you can never be off. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could be that invested, or I don't know, man. That's tough.
And that's why I want to do it. I want to see if I can be that invested.
Yeah.
And even if it's only for, like, I don't know, a 16 or a 20-week prep, something like that, I really want to see if I can do it, and I really want to see how I'd look.
It's funny, Ben Pollock said the same thing.
Yeah, Ben Pollock's going to do the same thing. So when do you plan on doing this? Do you have a couple more goals you want to hit for Worlds? You won the world record for 105s, and you were at one point the dude, so that could have been also another time to walk away. I mean, you've done some...
Hey, I'm still the fucking dude.
That's right. That's right. Hey, you know I'm a fan. So what are some of the goals you want to hit before you do the bodybuilding?
Right, I want to be world champion. 100% I want to be world champion. So that is a goal of mine. I'm just not sort of... That's like... That for me is a dream rather than a goal now. So like, a goal should be something that I can control. And like you said, rightfully so, I can't control who's going to turn up. I can't control how much fucking more weight fucking Poland's going to deadlift next year. All that sort of shit.
Fuck yeah.
Like, I can't control that. But I can control how many days a week I'm going to train. I can control how many sets I'm going to hit. I can't control how much extra volume I'm going to accumulate over the next cycle and all that sort of stuff. So that's the kind of things that I now focus on as a goal. Mm-hmm. So with the thinking being, rather than me saying, right, I want to hit this squat, this bench, this deadlift, because that's going to get me the world title, rather than me thinking that, I'm thinking, right, so if I miss 6 training sessions in this cycle, I've got less chance of hitting those numbers than what I would do if I missed no sessions. Mm-hmm. So they're my goals now, to miss no training sessions, to, I don't know, put like, I don't know, just stuff like that. That's what I'm focusing on now. I forgot what the question was. What was the question?
When do you think you'll do... I did too. No, I'm joking. When do you think you'll do that move over to bodybuilding? Because, like, obviously, yeah, you got it in you to be a world champ. You took the world record. So it's all, literally, it's sports. You know, in sports, any given day, with the Battle of the 104s, that really showed, like, the competition is so flippin' tight. Some guy misses, some guy hits. Like, you know, and you seen Ellis McLean in the 93 kilo class. Ellis McLean goes in there.
I was so fucking happy when I heard he won.
You could have been, he's anybody who hasn't met him, nicest fucking guy, one of the nicest guys in powerlifting, just a genuine good dude. Like, that was a happy...
He was the first friend I made when I moved the Classic. Made him compete against her in the 93s in Suzdal.
Yeah.
And, like, I could see him getting amped up, and I was getting amped up, and we just kept making eye contact, and, like, rather than, like trying to, like, sort of stage her out, he was like, yeah, fucking go and do that shit,
Let's do this shit.
Because
he's that positive dude. Like, he's that dude who wouldn't be the type to try to put you down if you're competition. He'd be like, bring your best, man. Like,
he'd be on the sidelines cheering you on.
He would cheer you on. He has cheered on guys who he's that dude. So when he wins, I don't think everybody in powerlifting was happy about that one. But, so what I was saying is, in terms of sports, you can never tell the outcomes. Like, it's all game day situation, weird shit happens. So are you telling yourself, do you have a deadline where, like, all right, well, before, you know, by certain, within the next few years, you like to do a little bodybuilding, or what are you thinking? Or is this, like, down the road, you know?
Right, basically, I'm not going to pursue it until I am world champion.
Okay.
Or until I just accept that it might not happen, or it's not going to happen.
You're going to exhaust this one. Yeah. Gotcha.
I mean, I don't know. Like, so basically the way I see this panning out for me now is probably, if I won it next year, I might take a break and do bodybuilding then. And then what I'd probably end up doing, if I enjoyed bodybuilding, I might just sort of be one of these guys who just dips in and out of them both.
You'd be maybe a lower weight class then. You'd be back in the 93s maybe, or?
I don't know. I don't know about the sport to really know. I'm not thinking that far ahead.
Yeah.
I might wait. Like, so, kind of like the way I see it. Have you ever seen the film Rush?
Yes.
Which one is that?
The Formula One film.
I'm not sure I have. Randy has.
Fuck. What are the fucking names? Niki Lauda and... He's a German guy, and I forget the name of the British guy, but basically, it's like they're the best two in Formula One, and they're neck and neck trying to win the F1 title all the time. Mm-hmm. And the British guy, James something, I forget his name now, he is like fucking, he's basically a fucking rock and roll star who drives a fucking Formula One car. Yeah. Like, he should have been the front man for a fucking band. He's that fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, he's just round fucking shagging birds, getting pissed all the time, all that sort of stuff, and then he just drives cars amazingly.
Yeah.
And then you've got Nick Lauda, who's the German guy, and he's just so focused on winning. And it's like, it focuses on one season where they're neck and neck, and they're both trying to win. They're so ultra competitive, trying to beat each other at the post every time. And this one particular year, the British guy wins it. And he then, rather than focusing on Formula One and continuing going on, he stops it and he becomes like a TV presenter, and he goes and lives the rest of his life doing other things because he had that one goal in mind. He wanted to win the world title and then be gone from it.
Yeah.
And move on, do other things. Like he basically wanted to go and experience life outside of that. Whereas the other guy is so focused on Formula One, he ended up continuing and winning like 5 or 6 F1 titles, and that was his life.
Yeah.
And like, I see the appeal to both sides of that.
No shit, the way you just described it, I do too. Like, I was like, fuck, I don't know which way
But it's a lot of what you just described before was personality and cyborg. Because that's really what it is. Nicky was, I mean, he lived, breathed everything about it. I mean, that guy.
Is this the dude from Russia?
Like,
you're talking about?
No, from Germany.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he lived, breathed everything about it. Like, he knew every piece of F1 racing, from tracks to degrees of the track. Like, it was insane. The guy checked weather temperatures coming in, like, back when nobody was doing any of this stuff, you know? Like, he lived and breathed it. And he's right, the other guy just lived the dream and won.
You don't know which one, I don't know which one I would... I think at certain times I relate to either one. That's a fucking weird...
Well, I
honestly don't know which one I am.
Yeah,
but I think it was more of like...
I think I have to win the world title to...
Figure it out. Now I get what you mean, where... So when I was asking you when, you're kind of that... Now I get what you mean, where you're like, man, I gotta see. You don't know until you get there.
Well, like, I might wake up the next day and think, right, I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I might wake up the next day and think, there's more to do.
Yeah, that's it. It's true.
I just don't know.
It's just like that.
I don't see myself like being like. I see myself competing in powerlifting for the rest of my life. Just maybe not as seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I've put so much of my life on hold to be world champion, where realistically I can't really do that for much longer. Like, I want to have a family, I want to have kids, and like, just my kind of thinking when I've been growing up and like maturing over these next few years, I'm still fucking miles off being mature, by the way. Like, my thinking's always been, right, if as soon as a girl starts getting serious and wanting to fucking settle down and everything, I need to pull the plug, because that's going to detract from me being a world champion. So I've spent like my 20s doing that. And now I'm getting a bit older, I'm maturing, I'm starting to enjoy different things in life and everything. Like, there's part of me that's kind of ready to start like thinking about having kids and stuff like that, and like actually trying to be a fucking complete human. And like, I'm happy to do that now. And like, if I did something like that, I don't think it'd matter to me if I didn't win a world title.
Bigger picture, that's happy. Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I just my perspective on life has changed a lot over this last year or two, and honestly, a big part of that's meeting Heather. Like honestly, like, I wasn't thinking about that shit until I met her, and like it's so fucking hard long distance. Don't get me wrong, but like, just like I was honestly an emotional retard till I met her. Like, I wouldn't have cried at somebody else winning a world title if I hadn't have met her. Like, she made me feel things that I never felt before, and it's fucking weird.
So yeah,
I don't know how to fucking deal with it half the time.
And so that's weird that
I was sitting watching a film the other day, and I fucking cried. We ended up together.
You're like, God damn it, Heather, what are you doing to me? No shit.
Honestly, man, I don't know what the fuck she's done.
What movie was it? It better be, if Slay was like a comedy too. It was.
What was it called?
It was Transformers.
Yeah, it's because they terminated her or something.
Was it like a rom-com? The fucking Jennifer Aniston movie? It was a Jennifer Aniston movie, wasn't it? Hugh Grant was in it. Was Hugh Grant one of the stars? I bet you.
No, fucking Hugh Grant. What film was it? I think it was called In Your Eyes.
I'm glad you finished that the way you did. I thought you were going in another direction.
Was Fast and Furious 7.
In Your Eyes, eh? I'll check that one out, or maybe I should.
Yeah. So is that a romantic or a porn In Your Eyes?
Yeah.
Really cute, like they had this like telepathic connection. They were in like different states, and like just one of them hit the fucking head or something, and then they could just see what this other person was doing across the country.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fucking like, but they ended up like falling in love because of that, and then they got together. Oh, it was fucking great.
Oh shit! So that's why, because you identify with it and everything.
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it. To be fair, like.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. You know, it's interesting you said, because Heather's obviously like a power lifter, and it's if you start dating a powerlifter, you might think you'd be more invested in powerlifting, etc., which you guys are probably heavily invested, but it's kind of weird how after meeting her, you start realizing that powerlifting isn't everything. You know, but even though she's a powerlifter, it's kind of ironic, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Because you certainly can't put your happiness all invested on outcomes of powerlifting.
Oh, fucking hell no. I mean, like, let's just say, fucking touch wood, it doesn't happen. But I mean, like, what if I was focusing on all that sort of shit and, like, all basically, my happiness was 100% down to me hitting the world record squat.
Yeah.
And then, let's say in 6 weeks' time, I fuck me knee because I'm so focused on that. Like, where am I going to get my happiness from then?
You're setting yourself up, aren't you? You set yourself up.
It's a failure. But then if you've got other things in your life, and powerlifting it's important to me, but not as important as these other things, then I'm just giving myself more avenues to be happy with.
Yeah. You don't build your house on one foundation. You build it on several, so you're okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the maturity of the screamer.
Yeah. I am slowly but surely becoming a human being.
Shit, as you enter your 30s, we're going to see a more mature screamer.
Yeah, you are.
Shit, good.
You might even see me smoking a pipe in Canada.
With a monocle.
And a monocle.
Yeah, fuck, man. I can't wait until you come to Canada for that show. To Calgary.
Yeah, you're looking forward to that, like.
Is that your next big, when's the next big meet?
Oh, no. Fucking all sorts of shit popping up, man. Right. So I'm competing like 7 weeks at my divisionals. Then the Arnold Classic Europe is in like 10 weeks. So that's where I'm going to try and get the world record squat back.
Okay.
Then I've got the British Championships after that, which is like 4 weeks after.
Holy smokes. Can you do this? You can obviously do those quick turnarounds. Your body's okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's another thing with the way that I train with Mike, where I hit heavy singles that often. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, pardon me, I'm only actually planning on pushing it at the Arnold, because I don't need to win the Northwest Championships, like, because I've got bigger aims. So I don't want to be, I don't want to be fucking going balls out in that one and messing the peak up for the Arnold.
Yeah.
The Arnold, I've got a big aim there that I want to try and get, the world record squat, and if it's there, the world record total. I think those two things should be there if training goes as well as I think that it will. And then after that, the British Championships, like, if everything, unless there's somebody there who just has came out of nowhere, he's changed from a different sport and I haven't seen him before, like, I should win that comfortably, so I won't push it too much there either. So, like, rather than just trying to just be, like, this big, like, fucking egomaniac who wants to max out for the crowd every single fucking time.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more selective. Like,
pick your battles.
Max out if I need to.
Yeah. And then obviously go into the World Championships in Canada. And one dude who wasn't in the Battle of the 105s, who's an amazing 105er, though, is Bryce from Canada. He was there, actually, in Texas. Huge puller as well, so it'll be interesting. Like, the 105s is such a good division. If it gets us, hopefully it stays that good for Canada. It always depends who shows. But, man, that battle was something else. And if you guys throw in the mix Bryce, I'm avoiding saying his last name, from Canada. And,
it's Krawchuk.
What is it?
It's Krawchuk.
Krawchuk. Bryce Krawchuk. That will be...
had this discussion with him.
The battle of the battle of the 105s will turn into 5 people, and that Polish guy Golem from the other Pole who was in there is also a beast.
The one who Chrissy wants to ban. Fucking hell.
Well, he really, but he really is. He's straight up a comic book. The way his chest, arms, he is jacked to shit. Like when you see him in real life, his waist is so small and tapered. The dude looks like a superhero. The jawline, like he is a fucking jacked up man, and he's he's strong as shit. So that the 105s is so competitive right now.
Yeah, it really is.
It's the hottest division in powerlifting.
Yeah, it's like to some people who are so like outcome oriented, that only makes it harder and harder.
Yeah.
Like, because let's just say like you look at the 83s from last year in Texas, and everybody knew it was going to be either Gibbs or Hack.
Yeah.
So, and if one of them wasn't sort of like, if one of them was focused on like the outcome rather than the process, then they only had one external factor to worry about, which is basically the other one performing really well.
Yeah.
So if you've got 5 other people who you are fucking fixated on,
shit.
Jesus, you're gonna fucking crash and burn.
Yeah, you get it's too much.
I'm gonna approach that competition the same way as what I am now. I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I just do not give a fuck. I'm going to go there. I'm going to enjoy the fuck out of the competition. If I win, fucking awesome. If I don't, fucking awesome.
And you know what?
Like,
the fact that there is so many dudes like that, it makes it better because everybody tuned in for the 105s. The viewership, everyone showed up in the crowd for the 105s. So if you approach it like, instead of approaching like, oh my God, the competition is so steep, it's a bad thing. No. All eyes were on the screamer. And everybody like enjoyed it. It was a privilege to be a part of that. I'm glad I got to call it. Some people were like, everybody and their mother, like we're asking, can you co-commentary this day, that day, whatever. Everybody's like, I'll do the 105s. No fucking shit you want to co-commentary the 105s, my friend. Everyone wants to be involved in that show.
By the way, next year, I'm fucking commentating something.
Okay, deal. Hell yeah, you can, yeah. Sure.
I won't swear. I promise you.
You cannot swear though. That's the thing. They're worried. I can tell you there's a lot of worry about you swearing or saying, you gotta watch.
Man, I can fucking handle it. I'll handle it. Don't worry.
Tell them I'm a more mature person. You're pushing 30 now, so you're more mature. I'll tell them.
I'll be a distinguished gentleman next year.
I'll be a distinguished. That's when you show up with your pipe and the monocle. And be like, Gaston, throw me in.
I'll fit up the wings with a fucking waistcoat, a pipe and a monocle.
Be like, Gaston, let me in. I'm a poster boy for this now. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, listen, I think, is there any other thing we should leave off on? This is a pretty good podcast. We'll probably have to have you back on, man, because you weren't lying. You're a good talker. You got a great story, an excellent personality. Is there anybody you want to thank, actually? Now that we have you.
I want to thank me for being fucking awesome. Obviously my kid, my brother. Not my kid. I don't have a kid.
I was gonna say, whoa, we skipped that part. Where did that happen?
I said that to Heather when we first started going out, and she thought that I'd hid a kid from her.
She's like, listen, you were very upfront with that.
It's not CLPR like my kid. Just obviously the all the fucking like important ones, my brother, my ma, Heather, like just anyone who supported me, like anyone who's like ever messaged me to sort of check out on how I'm doing when I'm going through any of these like depressive states, like people who have reached out to say like that what I've said's helped them get better, all that sort of stuff, like just like. It really does, like, it really hits home, and it really resonates with me really well, and just, like, it's just when I decide that I'm either done, and I'm not going to be world champion, or I win that world title, like, I'm not going to regret any of it because of experiences like that, and, just just anyone who supports me, just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And anyone who doesn't support me and thinks I'm a fucking dick, fuck you.
Well said. And what do you, if when it's all said and done, how would you like to be remembered?
As everybody's favorite cunt. Yeah, just honestly, is just an open, honest guy who wears his heart on his sleeve and fucking puts it all on the line every time. Pretty much, that's what I am.
Yeah, I admire you for it, buddy. You're a brave man. 100% on and off the platform. Thanks for having us. We'd love to have you back.
Mate, thank you so much. Anytime, just give me a shout. I've had a fucking blast.
Sounds good, buddy. Talk to you later. Have a good one.
Bye!
Ooh, he lived up.
Yeah.
That was a fucking good, that was another good show.
That was 2 good ones today.
Yeah, man, that was, yeah, that's what I like about Screamers, because he's like, the dude is straight transparent. In the world of fake personas and trying to be too cool for school, this dude doesn't give a shit about trying to be cool, which ironically makes him cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit about whether you like him, which ironically makes everybody like him.
There's a lot of things, and even him saying, like, coming in, he's just going to do what he does. But taking that mindset off, he'll probably, you know, crush a few more PRs, do a few things, because that pressure's off, not the... Like he said, that world squad. I mean, that's something he's going for because he wants to go for that. Because I mean, that's his jam. He wants. That's just something he wants to own, right? So,
but it's more. So yeah, like he was saying, the certain things are like goals, like dreams. But the actual, you don't bank your happiness on achieving that. It's more the process.
Yeah, you got to focus on the process.
You hit
the
it,
outcome.
Amazing. Yeah. You don't hit it. It's okay dealing with that shit, and I can see like powerlifters.
I did laugh pretty hard when he was talking about all these people with these fake fucking motivational quotes and posting shit and stuff like that. When I was driving,
post a picture of your ass and then a motivational quote underneath that means nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
yeah, that's all you see. He's the anti that. Look, the guy's got around 15,000 followers. He should have 100,000.
Yeah,
he's quality. You know, you see videos. He's legit funny.
But it'd be funny, you know, with him. I think his following would probably go through the roof if people saw more of his personality in the little.
That's why I'm glad we have more.
No, but not just like because you see a lot of his lifts and stuff like that. But I mean, like you see, if he was to do the little instas once in a while, I'm sure a lot of people would see a little more of his personality.
There's some here and there that he shows it. But
if he just started talking into it like a lot of people do and just saying like what his day's like or what's
going
on.
Apparently he's got his YouTube.
Oh.
And he says he's been doing video blogging, talking into the YouTube about everything. I suggest anybody go on that bad boy. If you want to get motivated and just see how the real process really is. You know, because like he was saying, you just see people's highlights. You don't see the whole behind the scenes. You know? And yeah.
What I like about him though too is he really doesn't give a fuck about what he says, which is fun. It makes it a lot easier for us too, having these things, because he's just showing his personality. He's not... Like we tell people from the time they come on here, they can swear, they can do whatever they want. We're not holding back, but this is the whole purpose of what we do is to show people not their squat, not their deadlift, to show them who they are.
We're not big on that kind of highlights, and like there's a million podcasts to talk about different training. We talked about training with him as well, which is good. But I love the meat and potatoes. I love the meat and potatoes. Yeah, and that's good. But I like getting into the person and their story, and you leave being like, I know Screamer better. I know Joe Sullivan better. I know whoever better. We do like it's important to hit the different training techniques, and you can pull away from.
Well, we talk about the training.
Podcasts.
We really need to see the 60%, 3 sets of 8. Like you don't need to see that stuff. But what he just talked about was how he was going heavy as fuck and turned it back, and his shit went up. Like that's what you're looking at. You can find a coach to do those things for you, or look for someone who's doing it. But
I like hitting all that as well as now let's get into a little bit of the lifter.
Yeah.
For me, viewership, there's only so many times you could tell me about training in different program blocks or whatever. After a while, you're like, I get it. I don't need a year's worth every fucking week more and more. Sometimes you want to be like, you know, let me, that guy's such a personality. Let me get to know him a little.
Well, if people watch from our first videos, they'll see that probably our first time we showed that pretty much every lifter lifts different. Like there's some that do
right off the bat.
You know, some that had light sets, some heavy, some like it was just different all over the place. You got some people that are RP 10 every day. Like Cornelius.
Which was totally different than what Screamer just said. Which I mean it works. There's no right and wrong. There's no right and wrong.
It works different for different people. Yeah. But you know, when you look at it, he's been I started to wonder if it is really right and wrong as much as it is how long you've been lifting. Like, Dennis said he'd only been lifting for about 3 years, powerlifting, like in competing. And you look at Screamer, who's been doing it for 12 years now, right? So, you know what I mean? You I don't know, after 12 years you can work up that much energy to go RPE 10 every single freaking day. Like,
maybe not, but there is, like, you know, look at it. There are some people out there. I think everyone's different.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think Dennis probably could do it. I think he's been lifting a long time.
Oh, I don't think he got to be, you know, 280-pound man in 3 years. Like, he's
been doing it a long time for sure. Anyways, another good one, my friend. I gotta go eat.
Yeah.
Freaking starving. From Powerlifting Motivation Studios, we're out.
Peace.